Bing bongy bong, bing bongy bong. This is Joe, the bearded historian. He'll tell you an interesting story. Be careful of his soldiers, they can be brats. This is Angel, she's an entity. She'll cause chaos and plant her hands at you. This is Sue, she likes spirits, not the alcohol. She's the reason this channel exists. This is David, he likes fire trucks. He's here occasionally. Bing bongy bong, bing bongy bong, bing bongy bong. We preserve his story. Okay, it is Friday. And we're almost done with May. Not quite, but almost. And today's video is a bunch of signs that could not be done in under a minute for shorts. So you get to enjoy them on this video. Are you ready? For today's video, I've chosen birds because we usually see birds on signs. Not these signs, but other signs. You ready? Here we go. Shout out time. Here's a shout out just for you. You support me, so I support you. This shout out is for our friend. Let's see who it is today. Please, off we go. All right. We've got She Stole, Woman Outdoors, there's Heather, there's Right Touch, Lashes, Really Haunted, Hiking Ontario, Nikki and Happy, Lainey, M and J, Lucy, Abundance, Catching, Lashes, Right, Susan, Anya, Cruising Nuts. There's Stace. There's Rook. There's Rubies. There's Ace Base. And Kalafa. Guru. CNC. There's Tristan. Martin. Mayhem. Net. Alice. Frugal. Donna. Oh, we got Cherry. Alright. This says, hi, Medlin. Hello, my channel is all about tutorials, bank to Gcash, Gcash to load, sports, cooking, food, entertainment, lives, music, etc. She hasn't done a regular post in a while, but she does have some shorts with food. And candy. And then she has lots of lives, hangout kind of stuff. So if you like food or hanging out, that's a good place to go. Check her out, like, share, comment. Have a good day.
All
right, bearded historian.
We're trying for Moolah, one of our $1 scratch tickets. Reveal 3 like prizes and win that prize. Get 2 prizes that are like in a money bag. We get 5 times the prize.
Woo!
So.
Ooh, money.
$1 there. Oh, we won $1 on the first one.
Woo!
Now, for the second one.
Nope.
Right away, quarter.
The quarter said no.
Quarter said yeet. Nothing there.
Aw, man.
$1.
$1.
Made $1 out of $2. So 50% odds. Not bad.
Okay, it says the greatest ride in history. John Pergo Phillips from Fort Phillip, Laramie, Wyoming to Fort Laramie, Wyoming, December 24th and 25th of 1866, when he sought aid for the garrison at Fort Philip, Kearny, which was surrounded by Indians after the battle with Lieutenant Colonel William Fetner, resulting in the death of the Lieutenant Colonel Fetner, Fitman, and 80 men. The horse died from exhaustion soon after arriving at Fort Laramie, having gone 236 miles in 2 days through a blizzard and a temperature below zero. All right, Mr. Bud, what does it say? Anything interesting? Maybe start in the corner and work your way up.
Up here?
Well, one of the corners.
Well, it says Ranch A property is 593 acres in size, owned by the state of Wyoming, managed by the Restoration Foundation as an education center. The lodge and caretaker's residence, the Pete Smith Cabin, were placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1997. Terrain is varied with steep canyon walls, gentler slopes, and semi-level canyon bottom. Elevations range from 3,780 feet up to 4,475 feet.
Wow.
The Sand Creek Road runs through the property. The stream, Sand Creek.
Oh, gosh.
Big fly.
Yes.
You may encounter cows when you are enjoying these facilities. They are a part of the hazard reduction fire suppression plan. The cattle eat and the grounds get groomed, reducing the potential for fuel for fires. You may also run into birds, turkeys, deer, elk, antelope, mountain lions, and other wild critters. They may be watched on the grounds. There's no hunting or camping allowed. Fishing is allowed with a valid Wyoming license. Sand Creek is considered a world-class fly fishing stream. And they have Restoration Foundation levels annually. Jusco Brothers, interesting, is construction of the most... Roll out the window, quick.
God, that screen's so crafty. Okay, go ahead.
Well, we're a couple miles up 385, up a little further south in Nebraska. It says Shattern Creek Trading Post. Now, employees of Lancaster's P. Lepton built a trading post on the creek near here in 1841 to trade with the Sioux Indians. From 1842 until at least 1845, this post was managed by Louis B. Chartrand, first for Seville and Adams, and later for the Pratt and Carabine. The companies were successfully headquartered at Fort Platte, about 85 miles southwest of here, and competed aggressively with Pierre Chateau Jr. and Company, which owned Fort Laramie. As a result of this competition, fur traders were very active in this region during the 1840s, bringing liquor, blankets, guns, ammunition, and other trade goods for exchange for fine Indian tanned buffalo robes. The creek is shown on the earliest maps of the area as Chartrand's Creek in tribute to the trader Louis Chartrand. The French settlers of the Missouri pronounced it Chatron, which from this is the modern name of Chadron evolved. Today the creek is Chadron Creek, and from the creek is the city of Chadron received its name. So there's a little more history to play with.
And twisting.
Yeah, I did not know.
Things you learn. Alright, let's see. Oh, I am recording. Go ahead.
Well, this here is the sign for, we're right outside of Chadron, Nebraska. It's for the Fort Laramie Trail from 1837 to 1850. More than 250,000 buffalo robes bought from Indians and 275 tons of fur company trade goods were hauled over the 300-mile-long Fort Laramie Trail that followed the White River through the area. First used by the American Fur Company, this trail had its origins as part of the earlier Spanish trade route from Santa Fe to the Missouri River in present-day South Dakota. During the 1840s, the Fort Pierre-Fort Laramie Trail was the shortest overland connection between the trading posts on the Platte and steamboats plying the Missouri. Now, after the government made its purchase of the Fort Laramie in 1849, Colonel Aeneas Mackay and Captain Stuart Van Leyen, with 10 mounted riflemen, traveled the trail to Fort Pierre. General William S. Harney troops marched over the route in 1855. Lieutenant G.K. Warren and his staff mapped the trail. Some traders and government freighters continued to use portions of the trail until 1880s. Ruts from the passage of several thousands of carts and wagons can still be seen in several places between Fort Laramie and Fort Robinson. We've been to both of those locations, so if we see them, we'll have to do a short video as well. But this is part of the Dallas County Travel Board information.
And you know what? I do the geocache, but those people over there would see me.
Yes.
Let's see if we can read it.
All right. Sidney Black Hills Trail. Beginning in 1874, thousands of freight wagons and stagecoaches would pass through here along the Sidney Black Hills Trail. The route was first supplied the Sioux at the Red Cloud Agency on the White River and the troops at the adjacent Camp Robinson. The southern terminus of the trail was at Sidney, Nebraska on the Union Pacific Railroad. Well, the 1874 discovery of gold in the Black Hills soon gave the trail due importance. Within 2 years, it had been extended to Deadwood and other settlements in the Black Hills until about 1880. Much of the freight of these the mining camps was shipped from Sidney over this route. The peak of 1878 to 1879 trade was estimated at more than 22 million pounds.
Wow. 3
stagecoach stations were located along the trail in this region. To the south were Snake Creek Station and the Halfway Hollow, while a few miles north was the Running Water Station on the Niobrara River. When Box Butte County was settled in the 1880s, several sod buildings, including a store and post office, were built a mile north of here. Church settlers erected a Catholic church nearby in 1888. The church cemetery remains a symbol of the heritage of these pioneer settlers. Interesting. This might be...
All right, Mr. Bud. What are we doing out in this rainy, very beautiful, but slightly rainy terrain?
Well, we're going to have both a trip into the past and a more current event due to our motion picture industry.
Ooh.
Those of us who know who Leonardo DiCaprio is shot a film called The Revenant, and it starred a history person named Hugh Glass, and he was actually a real-life human being. Here in South Dakota, this is the memorial marker that they have for him. Quick read through. Hugh Glass, a member of the Ashley Fur Party under Major Henry, was going up the Grand River in August of 1823.
Woo!
Long before statehood, long before territorial. Habitual loner, while hunting, was attacked by a grizzly bear near the forks of the Grand River. Now, horribly mauled, he could not be moved. A purse was made up. 2 men, probably Fitzgerald and Bridger, were left with him, and they, probably believing him dead, took his gun.
Well, then, they didn't need it, right?
And his accoutrements, and left him. He, however, was not dead. He would drag himself to the stream, sustained himself on seasonal fruit and meat, obtained when he drove off some gorged wolves from a buffalo calf that they had downed, and by some means and by uncertain route appeared at Fort Kiowa below the Big Bend, 190 miles as the crows flies from the forks of the Grand River. That much is verified history. He eventually was killed by the Arikara Indians on the ice of the Yellowstone River near the mouth of the Bighorn in the winter of 1832 to 33. John G. Neihardt, in an epic poem, The Song of Hugh Glass, was what immortalized him. In the epic poem, The Song of Hugh Glass, alone, unarmed, terribly wounded, it seemed probable that he proceeded at night on high ground to avoid the Indians, sought shelter on that water in the daytime and guided by his instinct succeeded in reaching the Big Bend and Fort Kiowa. Whatever the details, it was a marvelous show of stamina and courage. Now, take a look around you. This is what we commonly refer to as the rolling hills, because it's not really flat,
Right.
like East River, and at the same time, it's not super high like the Black Hills.
Right.
And so, this land kind of, it has a gentle rolling to it, so hiding up in this upper area would not be that hard. But again, this is all Native American at the time, and so trying to evade Indian attacks and stuff was not easy. This big body of water behind us, this is what's known as Shade Hill Reservoir. Now, Shade Hill, to its effect, was basically created by the Bureau of Reclamation when certain aspects of our settlers just couldn't make it go with the unpredictability of our weather.
What?
There'd be times we'd have arid weather. There'd be times that it would be stormy. There's been some times that even sticking potatoes in the ground would make them grow. And eventually what wound up happening, first, some of the more populated places, Dewey County, places that were growing cotton and stuff, when those started failing, the banks behind them, instantly started going under.
Right.
Well, the farmers out here who were struggling as well, all of a sudden found themselves, disoriented, distraught, and said, screw this, we're going back east where, it's easier to grow. So these lands, great swaths of property, 40 acres, 80 acres, 160 acres, all of a sudden just folded up. Well, the Bureau of Reclamation and our wonderful U.S. government decided, well, we'll come in, we'll take off the deeds, and then we'll basically repurpose the land. Now, places that had already had their crops planted but weren't growing, they would just basically, plow it under, replant the grasslands, and so now you have the Grand River grasslands out here. When you're coming up from Faith to Lemon, you pass right through here. But now you have this beautiful body of water out here, Shade Hill Reservoir.
We came off that road.
Yeah,
I said 4 miles.
4 miles.
I think it's more.
Probably. 4 miles as the crow flies. That's one of my favorite sayings because it's never 4 miles. It's like 3 miles from Sylvan Lake to what used to be Harney Peak, now Black Elk Peak. It's not 3 miles. I don't care who you are. But the nice thing about this lake, though, is that it's well stocked with fish. We get tourists and locals that like to come up here and go fishing, hiking, biking. They got a competition that originates out of Lemon. One of the tourism people says that it brings bikers in from all over the region. But it's also really pretty during the summer. Right now, it's kind of funny because it's almost like it's trying to snow.
Yeah, it's chilly and sprinkly.
Little sprinkles. And, of course, the other nice thing about being up here, we saw a lot of antelope coming through here.
Quite a bit.
You get a lot of pheasants for the hunters out there.
I haven't seen any of those. I need to get a picture of one of those one of these days.
Yeah, maybe we might get one today yet. But, and then the other thing, again, footprints of what used to be here. There are several ghost towns around here. One of them actually sits just to the north of the Shade Hill Reservoir, a little town called Seam.
I don't see them.
You don't see them either. It actually wound up getting bought out. The majority of the town either moved to, drier land, or they just flooded it.
Woo.
And so part of it is actually under the lake out there, the reservoir. The cemetery is still there.
Yay, cemetery!
And from when we were doing research projects for cemeteries to go visit, there's like about 6 of them in this general area. So this is going to be a new place for us to do some circling back on. We do know that we still need to do the meadow. We need to do bison. We're going to go up and check out the Lemon Cemetery. There's 2 by Lemon. And then we're probably also going to sneak across the border at White Butte and go up and see Hemingford in North Dakota. So
depends on how dark it gets between now and then with the rain and clouds and stuff.
True. But, this is our guy, and it's also kind of funny because, like Hollywood, they always try to glamorize and immortalize and change history. But our buddy Hugh Glass, now, the other interesting thing is that there is another monument that they made for the guy, and there is a legend that there is something buried within the monument.
Ooh.
And so there's been some discussion with kinfolk and the state on if they can actually get into it and see what they actually buried in there as a Easter egg.
Right?
As sorts.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah. But, you know, again, it's actually kind of pretty out here. You know, people like to come out here, go fishing, go hiking. It's, you know, nice and quiet. It's like wide open. So if you folks ever have a hankering to come out and check out something nice and quiet and do some fishing, come on up to Shade Hill.
I will give you quiet. I will give you open. I will give you lonely.
That too. But there's also one heck of a restaurant way back on the main highway coming out. So, but anyway, this short term is from the Bearded Historian and Sue Bud. We will catch you guys on the road. Like
Bye.
We're already on the road.
Yeah, true. True. We're on the road. See, road.
Yes. Now these are the Buffalo Soldiers of Fort Robinson. They were the 9th and 10th Cavalry Regiments, called Buffalo Soldiers by the Plains Indians. They were garrisoned here for 18 years and played an important role in northwestern Nebraska history. Organized in 1866, the regiments first served in the Southwest. In 1885, the 9th Cavalry arrived at Fort Robinson, which was regimental headquarters from 1887 to 1898. The Black Troopers helped build a new post with the fort's 1887 expansion and were the first cavalrymen sent to the Pine Ridge Reservation during the Ghost Dance troubles in 1890. Lieutenant John Alexander, the second African-American graduate of West Point, and Henry Plummer, the first black chaplain in the regular army, served here. So did the Buffalo Soldier Medal of Honor men.
Nice.
In 1902, the men of the Fighting 10th Cavalry, veterans of the Battle of San Juan Hill, made their headquarters here. 4 years later, the 10th helped capture Ute Indians who had fled the Utah Reservation, the last military action against natives on the northern plains. In 1897, the regiment left for duty in the Philippines.
Nice.
Interesting.
Very interesting. I need to get it over to video and I can't see what I'm doing. No, that's not what I want. Oh, I am recording. Never mind. Go ahead.
Post headquarters, 1905. This headquarters was constructed in 1905. The post commander's office was located here, along with other administration offices, a post office, and the fort's telephone exchange. An ornate auditorium on the second floor was often used for parties such as a masquerade ball held on January 2nd, 1906. During World War II, the room was partitioned into additional administrative offices. The Nebraska State Historical Society opened the Fort Robinson Museum on June 1956 as part of an effort to preserve Fort Robinson's heritage. Now, the other fun thing, this Great Western Trail sign, this is familiar because we've seen it in Belfouche, we've seen it in Buffalo, and I think there's even one in Deadwood, if I remember right.
I think so.
I think there's even one in Hot Springs, but I'd have to double check. But yeah, very familiar. And so this one actually says open, so we're going to go check it out.
I'm going to go see what
Okay, folks, this here is a plaque that says, designed to be air transportable, the PM-1 was the first United States Air Force nuclear power plant. It furnished electricity and heat to the 731st Radar Squadron Operations Area. Operated by an Air Force crew supplemented with Army and Navy personnel, the PM-1 established a new U.S. continuous power production record of 4,101 hours for land-based military and civilian nuclear power plants. This record was unsurpassed at the time the PM-1 was dismantled by the last operational crew, 1962 to 1968. You'll notice this being mentioned in the one of the tours in Gillette. And presently, they're still doing remediation and cleanup via the Ellsworth Air Force Base Environmental Restoration Program. As you can see, it is all chained and blocked off, way up here in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming. Check out that view. This has been a lead file short in a windy Wyoming day.
try it again.
1970 National Christmas Tree. This is the site of the 1970 White House Pageant of Peace Christmas tree. This tree was given by the people of America and the world by Keep South Dakota Green Association in cooperation with the Black Hills National Forest. The tree was a mature Black Hills spruce. 78 feet high,
Holy cow!
20 and a half inches in diameter, 73 years old. A new tree was planted in its place, a symbol for renewed hope for peace worldwide. 78 feet
Holy
high.
cow. I can't even picture that.
No,
That's like what? 5 stories? 6 stories? I don't even know how high that is.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. And 20 and a half inches in diameter. So
That's like,
yeah,
wow.
that's one heck of a tree. I remember seeing a picture of it on a train car
huh.
when they sent it back east to DC for Christmas. But yeah, so that's where the tree came from. Interesting. There's a little pathway right there. Must go back to it.
Interesting.
Huh.
Great place to park.
Exactly. I think that must be what that area back there is for.
Oh, probably. I didn't see that.
I saw a little parking area. Cool. That's kind of neat.
All right, what do you want to say?
This little placard here talks about the fire tower, which sits above us. And it says, watching the heavens and earth, the fire lookout's job. Also, when lightning is popping, look out.
What? They will put a joke there in a lightning storm. It'll be fun.
Oh yeah, you'd definitely be testing its lightning ability there. Women who work in fire towers locate nearly 80% of wildfires in their area. The job of the Forest Service lookout involves observing the heavens and earth for the telltale signs of forest fire. Smoke.
What?
The lookout also watches clouds closely because the majority of fires is caused by lightning. Often the morning brings a non-threatening scattered cumulus clouds. By mid-afternoon, during the heat of the day, the clouds build into massive thunderheads. Storms sweep across the hills. Lightning may strike a tree, and wind could fan the flames into a forest fire. It says, all rest easier knowing you are up there, stated a local rancher to a Forest Service lookout. Wildland forest fires on both private property and public lands are reported by lookouts. It says, Hinkle Fire burned 1,862 acres in 2000. Turn to the west to see this view. That's
Which way's which?
That one.
Okay. Over that way, okay. Two vehicles, but I don't see any people, which is like, where did they go?